Hello everyone, Vampire Tweeting here after the biggest hiatus of ever time. I'm gonna hopefully try and get back into videos, and hopefully this is gonna be the start of something. I'm not doing huge series. I'm gonna hopefully just cover this league. Hopefully it stays together. So this is the TLK. I'm not gonna say the name of it because it's slightly offensive and might offend people. So we're just gonna call it TLK. Yeah. And so this was a free draft where you got 12 Pokemon. It was 20 players, and they split it, so 10 people per division, so pretty stacked teams. And you will start seeing that when we start getting into my picks, how stacked my team is. Not even just with legendaries, but with Pokemon in general. And how stacked, you'll start to see when I go against other teams and if I do team builders and stuff, which I do plan to do. So we're going to jump right on into things here, and ba-boom. My first pick was Zapdos. Now, going into this draft, I was first overall in the Division 1. So, I knew that I was in a horrible position because I immediately realized, you know, oh my god, I'm first overall. I'm going to need to not only get a Pokemon that I'm very familiar with, I'm going to need to get a Pokemon that's very, very versatile. And because I already know that there's 18 picks before I get my next pick, so I needed to pick something. I couldn't just pick, you know, a hard out banger. I couldn't just be like, oh man, Kieran Black, boom. No, I needed to pick something I was comfortable using and was very, very versatile. Now, Zapdos is a Pokemon that I've used in quite a few leagues now. IDL Season 2, IDL Season 3, and a few other fringe leagues here and there. And I'm very comfortable using it. I finally understand its playstyle. And, you know, whenever I'm going up against the Zapdos, I have a very, very hard time busting through the Zapdos. And I'm really hoping that that's what I'm going to be able to do, is not only bring a Pokemon that, you know, I can bring it special. I could feasibly bring it physical. It gets okay physical coverage. You know, it gets Drill Peck. It gets things like, you know, I could feasibly, I'm not gonna, but it has the option, you know, U-turn. It has both U-turn and Volt Switch. It has Whirlwind, Roar. I believe it gets Tailwind. Don't quote me on that. It does. Light Screen, Reflect. This thing, Roost. You know, this thing, it's stacked. It is so versatile. So this thing can really fit on any team. Plus it gets Defog. So immediately off the bat, I'm starting out with a Pokemon and Baton Pass, first of all. Baton Pass, which is huge. Because there's two main clauses for this league that I'm going to go into, is that there is no Baton Pass clause, and that there is the Mega, you don't have to Mega turn 1. So that it plays a huge impact a little bit later in terms of what I'm picking. But overall, Zapdos, you know, it can be defensive, it can be special defensive, it can be sweeper. I have so many options with Zapdos, and that I had to pick it turn 1. Because I wasn't assured that I would be able to get this thing a little bit later on, so... now 18 picks happen, and I'm starting to see a lot of things go. Now, some of the things I'm starting to see go are A, a lot of the fairies, and B, a lot of the good megas. So I was looking over, and I was like, okay, well, you know what? I'm going to need to get, and I do have a wheel here, remember. I'm going to need to get a fire type and my fairy. And I was thinking, I was like, you know, I really like Mega Aggron. Mega Aggron is probably my favorite mega. It pairs very well with Zapdos, but I shouldn't get it in this league. And I was thinking, you know, Mega Aggron, the main reason I usually get Mega Aggron is because of the points. There's no points, so I ended up deciding to get Mega Deontay. Now, Mega Deontay is, again, one of those Pokemon that's extremely versatile. And a lot of people don't realize, but because I don't have to Mega turn 1, I have a lot more options because, you know, I have the base, I believe, 160 in defenses when I am not Mega'd. And my speed, sure, my speed is atrocious when I'm not Mega'd, but I'm able to usually live those ×4 effective steel hits, meaning that I can play some tricks, be outsped, take a hit you back, and then Mega and hit you a second time, guaranteeing me 2 hits and to live whatever you're doing. So, and I'm definitely expecting to use that at times because, you know, Mega Deontay is a very unique Pokemon, and when I don't have to Mega turn 1, it's going to be very interesting. Mega Deontay and Deontay in general are also a fairy type that has a different playstyle than normal fairies. A lot of fairies are either supportive or offensive. There's few defensive fairies that are going to be very good in a free draft. And Deontay is one of them, and having the access to Mega Deontay as well means that I can do a nice transition from defensive or supportive to heavy offense or something. So I really like the versatility that Deontay is just going to give me in general. And then for my fire type, I was looking and I was like, you know, one of my heavy bangers is obviously Victini. You know, Victini, base 100 across the board, access to amazing moves, the accuracy boosting Victory Star. You know, I don't really have to say much about how good Victini is. It fits the team pretty good here. Now, I was starting to notice a ground weakness, so we do start having to take care of that, because I don't like having more than 3 weaknesses to a single type on my teams, and I do end up finishing off that, thankfully, that I don't have that at the end. So Victini, very good. 18 more picks happen, and I'm like, okay, I need to get a good steel type now. I also want a steel type that is not weak to ground. And I was looking over my options, and I was like, you know what? Scissor's a very, very good pick here. Scissor's neutral to ground. Scissor has access to good priority. It's very good heavy hitter on the physical side. It complements Zapdos, which is heavy hitting on the special side. You know, Scissor can set up. Scissor can defog technically. It has a lot of versatility and options, and that's what I really like about my team so far, is that I have a lot of options. I'm really not narrowed into one style of play. And then I picked up Necrozma because I was like, oh my god, Necrozma's still around, you know, this late in the game. Necrozma's an amazing lead. It's amazing in general. It's basically Mega Aggron, but I want to say like a mini version of it. Plus, this thing gets rocks, recovery. You know, this thing is an amazing Pokemon, and I'm really surprised I was able to get it. And now we're getting into some of the ones that I'm not as familiar with. Like, Necrozma is one of the ones I'm not as familiar with. You know, 18 picks more happen here, and then bam, Kyurem Hollow. And, you know, Kyurem Hollow is one of those Pokemon that a lot of people sleep on, not realizing, you know, this thing still has 130 in both of its attacks. There's no stat in here that's bad. So, I mean, this thing has good coverage, too. You know, it can use a Scarf, it can use a Band, it can use, like, so many things. So, you know, I really realized how much I wanted a good dragon. And getting Kyurem, I was really happy with. It was the dragon. You know, obviously Kyurem Black would have been better. It's just naturally better Pokemon. But, you know, obviously I'm really, really happy with Kyurem. So, the next Pokemon on my list that I got in this round, by the way, is Shaman. Now, I was realizing at this point, I don't have too many clerics. I don't have too many things if I get status that I can get rid of at this point. I really need I have a lot of bangers. I have a lot of versatility. I want to keep the versatility, but I want to, you know, get some things that are going to help me cover my issues here. Now, Shaman also being resistant to ground is very, very good. So, you know, I'm just very happy with that. But, you know, in addition to having Natural Cure, which is going to help be a status thing, you know, I have Aromatherapy. I have Leech Seed, which is, you know, minuscule recovery for things that don't get recovery, like Kyurem. Now, I don't believe this thing gets Wish, which is sad, but it does get other, you know, supporting moves, like Tailwind. I can heal itself with Synthesis, and it gets just a very good array of moves, including, if I'm not mistaken, does this thing get Healing Wish? Yeah, it does. So this thing does get Healing Wish, which could be Secret Tech some week. I'm not too sure. This thing is very versatile, very good in supportive role, very good in an offensive role, very good in a defensive role. I have a lot of options with this thing, and I'm very happy with that. Moving forward, 18 picks more happen, and I'm looking, I'm like, goodness, sorry. Moving forward, 18 picks more happen, 18 more picks happen, rather. I'm looking at my team, and I'm like, I only have defoggers, so I need to pick up a spinner. And I'm looking at available spinners, and I'm like, you know what? The only typing that I'm really, really wanting is Komala. And so I'm like, you know what? Yeah, I'll pick up Komala. Komala's nice in that it can be defensive, it can be stall, it can do a lot of things. Because of Comatose, I can't really get Toxic, which is nice because it's a Toxic immunity. It also lets me have a switch in for things like Thunder Wave, Will-O-Wisp, anything like that I can switch in on. You know, it has access to a lot of good heavy-hitting moves like Earthquake, you know, Brick Break, Return Stab, Rapid Spin, very, very good. And then it also has Wish, meaning that this thing can Cleric, and it's like an off-Cleric type thing. I really like it for that. And I also wanted to pick up my Water type, and I was looking, and I was like, you know, man, if he's taken, some of the good Water types are taken, why not Keldeo? You know, Keldeo, it's another legendary, and you are, as you have seen here, you know, my team is stacked with legendaries, but, you know, looking at these stats, it's fast, it hits very hard on the special side, relatively good defenses and health, you know, there's very little downside to this, other than its only ice move is Icy Wind, and even then, it's like, you know, I have Hiram, and I have a few other mons that you're going to see here, as you've seen as well, that it can really handle those issues that I would run into. So overall, very happy with picking up Keldeo here. 18 picks happen, and I'm like, man, we're in the last 3 picks here, so we're gonna get the 2 of the last 3 out of the way here. And I'm like, you know what? I need a heavy banger. I need a poison type. I need a ground type. I'm looking, and I'm like, Nidoqueen. Nidoqueen is a brilliant Pokemon. You know, its stats, okay, like its stats are okay, and that's the best way to put it. You know, they're not game breaking, but they're also not weak by any means. What really makes Nidoqueen stand out is its access to Stealth Rocks, its access to Toxic Spikes, and its access to Sheer Force, meaning that I can bring Nidoqueen in a very versatile role, and that is a big theme you're seeing of my team so far is versatility. So what Nidoqueen allows me to do is 1 week I can bring a dedicated lead if I see, you know, oh man, they've got a lot of bug types, or they've got a lot of dark or ghost types, meaning that I can't dedicated lead with Necrozma. I could bring Nidoqueen as a lead. Now, I could also bring Nidoqueen as a heavy Sheer Force Life Orb damage dealer, because Nidoqueen gets access to some amazing moves. You know, it gets access to things like Flamethrower, Ice Beam, Earth Power, Sludge Bomb, Sludge Wave, depending on what I want to do there. Like, even things that don't get boosted. You know, Thunderbolt gets boosted, but Surf. Like, I have access to so many moves on Nidoqueen that Nidoqueen... And again, Nidoqueen can be special or physical, and that's what people don't realize is that, you know, getting a 1.6 boost is huge. Taking these things in mediocre stats and making them like wall breaking levels. And then my second last pick, I was like, you know what? I want another dedicated cleric. I could double up on the fairy type because my fairy is also a rock type, meaning it's not always going to be wanting to get brought if they have a lot of steel types or something. So I figured, you know what, Florges, very good, hits hard on the special side, special walls for me, is a very good cleric, and really fits that supportive role that I'm looking for in a fairy, meaning that there's a lot less pressure on Mega Deoncé to cleric in my fairy role, where I could bring Mega Deoncé as offensive more, and if I don't want to bring it, but I still need to bring a fairy, I can bring Florges. Not much is to be said about Florges. Florges, again, pretty versatile. Can be setup, can be cleric, can be heavy hitter, can be tank. There's a lot of things that Florges can do, and that's a lot of what you're seeing with my team here. And I'm also very familiar with, you know, not only Florges, but also Nidoqueen. Now, the last one here, I haven't really ever used it, but that being said, I really realized, you know, I need a spin blocker, I kind of want a dark type, and I got Spiritomb. So Spiritomb is a really interesting little Pokemon, you know. It's got 92 in its attacks, it's got 108 in its defense, its speed is abysmal, its HP is pretty bad, but this thing isn't going to be a heavy hitter. You know, this thing may get a kill here or there. It gets access to some good priority-esque moves, you know, Sucker Punch, I believe. I don't even think it does get Shadow Sneak, so it can be like a come-in hitter, but the main goal for this is a, you know, Status Hound. So this thing, you know, if I want to trick, I can trick an item onto them, I can Toxic them, I can Taunt them, I can Will-O-Wisp them, I have options, and that is what this thing is for. Pain Split, you know, even if I wanted to set up like a Nasty Plot, I could easily pass like speed into this thing from like Zapdos, and then just sweep through it with its speed, because again, its stats aren't bad other than speed. So this again was one of the Pokemon that I did get though to just fill out the roster and, you know, give me that last little bit of versatility that I really was looking for. And I'm quite happy with this. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. What do you think of this team? Do you think I drafted a good team? Where do you think I could improve? And how do you think I'll do in this league? Let me know in the comment section down below. See you guys later. Bye.